Good morning. It is Wednesday, May 16th, and I'm joining you live for Coffee with Kelly. And we are continuing the Mythbuster May series, and I have a good one for you today. I had to think long and hard about something that comes up a lot and that there's a lot of myth and folklore about. So we're going to talk about independent contractors today. And this is one where I think a lot of people have familiarity with some of the rules of being an independent contractor. They know someone who's done it. They know someone who works in construction, works in a trade where there's often a lot of use of contractors and subcontractors, and they think they know the drill because independent contractors, or contractors, I guess I should say, have a lot of customs that are not necessarily the law, what the law requires. So the myth today is if you have an agreement to be an independent contractor, you are an independent contractor. And I have exciting news for many of you. This is a myth. There is so much more to whether or not you're an independent contractor, and just having an agreement. In fact, even if you have an agreement, you agreed to it, you said, yes, I want to be an independent contractor, here's my W-9, I only want to get 1099 income, you signed a contract, that may not make you an independent contractor. There are lots of factors that we look at under the law, and there are various different laws that are going to evaluate differently whether or not someone's an independent contractor. For the purposes of what I do here at Riley Law, I look at whether someone's an independent contractor for wage purposes. Are they being paid minimum wage, overtime, and are they being paid wages when they're due? So when I'm looking at that, I'm going to evaluate a lot of factors. The other area of law where I look at that a lot is if someone was discriminated against or terminated wrongfully, do they have rights as an employee, or were they not an employee who has rights to be free from discrimination? So the factors, just a few, and it's an exhaustive list. Under the IRS, there's a test with up to 20 factors that a court might consider in determining whether or not someone is truly an independent contractor. Some of them that I commonly see are whether or not there's an agreement, and that can be written or an unwritten contract, just a verbal agreement that they're going to be an independent contractor. That's not the end of the analysis. How someone is paid. Are they paid by the hour, or are they paid by the project? Are they paid by the piece? So I actually had a small business come to me where they paid their subcontractors by each piece of drywall that they hung up. And the Division of Labor said, yeah, that's a factor that actually goes against you. It would be better if they were paid per house that they drywall. Another factor is, where is the work done? Does it have to be done at your office, or can the work be done from home? Is it a project, or is it an indefinite job, really? Whose tools are being used? Are they using your equipment, your computer, your tools, your truck, or are they using their own equipment, own tools, own truck to complete the task? And again, these are very flexible. No one of these tips things one way or the other. And you could even have all of these things that I listed, and there's still those other 18 factors under the IRS test that might tip a court in the direction of saying, or the Division of Labor, or the Division of Workers' Compensation, or the IRS to say, no, this person's not an independent contractor. I do have one other factor I want to point out, which is, does the subcontractor work only for your company, or are you as a subcontractor only working for one contractor, or are you putting bids in for lots of different contractors, doing one project here, and then the next month you're working on a different project? And as a subcontractor, are you generating the work, or are you depending exclusively on work for this one company? Do you depend economically on your income from this particular project that is ongoing? So an important thing on the flip side of this, you can also be an independent contractor and never have a written contract. You can have a certain number of these factors in place and have no written agreement, but still be considered an independent contractor. So Like I said, to the myth, the urban legend that if you have a contract, you are an independent contractor, I'm calling that a myth. And there are lots of other factors that I would want to evaluate if you are a subcontractor before determining, yes, you are an independent contractor and therefore you do not have rights under these laws, or no, you are not an independent contractor and yes, you do have rights under different laws that protect employees but don't protect independent contractors. So if you think you might have an independent contractor scenario that might not be holding water, please contact Riley Law. I'm happy to talk with you about the rights that might be impacted. And if you have a myth that you want me to address for Mythbuster May, please leave it in the comments below. And I'll look forward to seeing everyone next week for Coffee with Kelly. Have a great Wednesday.